You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. I feel it. You feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup exploring over 60 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold on tight. You never know where the crew of the TARDIS is going next.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Earth Station Who podcast. That's right, folks. We are back. Oh man, we are just diving through the new season of Doctor Who, and we are looking at Lucky Day, a Dr. Light episode, actually, and it features Ruby Sunday and Unit. And in some ways, I felt like this was a backdoor pilot in some ways for the new Unit story that's coming our way next fall. So I'll be very curious to hear what everybody here thought and what everyone at home thinks. Please, if you get a chance, like and subscribe. That's how people find us. That's how people love these smiling faces and everything. Or as Mr. Rourke used to say, smiles, everyone, smiles. I know, I just dated myself really badly there. But you know what? It's always great. And, we definitely would love to hear from you guys. So feedback at earthstationwho.com is the best way to get in touch with us. Let's welcome our guest for tonight. God, it's been a long time since we've seen this young lady. She's grown up and, with us. Let's welcome Ashley Pauls.
Hello. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be back and really looking forward to chatting with you all tonight.
It's going to be a blast. And, this is an interesting story. And I'll be curious, we'll ask you in a few minutes what your thoughts so far on the season have been and everything. And Ashley is also going to be our victim tonight in the Whovian Geek Seat. So, I'm going to be very curious to hear this because, when we met Ashley, she was 14, 13 years old. And,
something like that. Yeah.
And she said, I want to write movie reviews for you. So we said, by all means. And the rest is history. She's grown up with Earth Station 1. She was our movie guru for quite a long time up there. And now she's a mom of 2 and loving life. And it's really good to see her back here. So it's great to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited.
One of those timey-wimey things because she grew up with us, but we didn't grow at all.
No, not at all.
No, if anything, we regress.
My wife says I've regressed so much over the years, so it's perfect. So it's awesome to be able to have a great guest like this. And of course, let's say hi to our regulars. Melanie Dean is back with us 2 weeks in a row.
I know. I've got my whole streak going on. So hello, fellow Whovians. Hello, fellow Whovians. And guess what? I can't speak.
Nothing's changed. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect to have Mel here. And of course, let's say howdy to Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
And Ms. Mary Ogle. Always great to have you.
Oh, hi, everybody. It is fantastic to be here.
So we actually have a little bit of Doctor Who news, and very excited to announce that our friend and yours, Murray Gold, has won a wonderful award. He was presented with a Lifetime Achievement Award by Frank Skinner on behalf of the Doctor Who Appreciation Society.
Yay.
It's awesome. Murray has been pretty much doing a lot of Doctor Who since the new series came back. And, it's been amazing. And I love how for each Doctor he evolves the theme and everything. And I know he took a step away during the Chibnall era for good reason. And, it was pretty awesome.
But our Chibnall dig, does that count?
No, that didn't take long at all.
No, of course not. It was low-hanging fruit, folks. We just had to take it. But it was good, to have when they announced that he was coming back for the specials, and then he was also staying for Ncuti era. So I love the new theme that he has right now. It is so grand. And, I was actually this is one of the only shows I don't go skip title, type thing when you're streaming it. And so it's pretty awesome because I just want to hear it each time. So bravo for Murray, and hope he stays with the series for quite some time. So, but it's pretty cool with that. The only other real Doctor Who news, they finally announced that they are going to be releasing in the United States the color version of the War Games. So we are getting that coming up not that far away. We're getting it on June 24th. So order it on Amazon. It's pre-ordered, and that you don't have to pay till it comes out, which is always awesome. Or if you don't believe in Amazon and Jeff Bezos, there's plenty of other places you can pre-order from, including the Who Store North America. So there you go. So definitely check it out. And, we will be reviewing it in a couple months because, we've got to finish with this season. And we're only at the halfway point right now, folks. So we got, it's flying by as it always does. So definitely cool to be able to do that. All right. This is the fun part, folks. This is where we get to find out what kind of Whovian Ashley Pauls is. And I've always been kind of curious about this. Ashley like we said, we've seen her grow up, but, we've had her on the podcast in the past for Earth Station Who even. And we, quizzed her a little bit, but this is the really, trying to really get to know her. So folks, this is our time to get to know Ashley Pauls. You ready for your first question in the Geek Seat, Ashley?
Let's do it. Hopefully I won't get myself kicked off the show or anything for saying a bad answer. Kicked off the TARDIS, I guess we shall say. So
yeah, well, we saw what happens when, someone crosses the Doctor this week. So,
Yes.
So let's take a peek. Ashley, who was your first Doctor?
Yeah, so my first encounter with the Doctor was the Ninth Doctor, played by Christopher Eccleston. And how I discovered the show, after college, kind of my graduation present to myself, kind of from my parents, was spending a month in Scotland. And so we had some downtime. And so a friend brought her laptop and we would occasionally watch things. And I can't remember if she had either seen an episode or she just heard about it. So we sat down and watched it. And needless to say, there was a lot more Doctor Who episode watching that followed from that. So it was really cool to kind of get to discover it while we happened to be in the UK, and they had some Doctor Who merch. We even went and got some and brought it home with us. So it was it was just really special to discover it at that point, and then to just kind of go from there.
What about it though made you drawn to it?
It was something different than I think what I had seen before. I liked the concept of the time travel and that there was this mysterious person that kind of transcended time and space that a regular human person could go and travel with. So I think even though the Doctor is this really complicated, mysterious person, the fact that he has human companions makes the story very relatable and human. And there were funny moments, scary moments, and also some heartbreaking moments. We were not prepared for the Doctor to regenerate. And it took us a little bit. We're like, who is this David Tennant guy and who does he think he is? So it was kind of hard getting used to that concept. Like you fall in love with somebody and have to say goodbye to them. But it's one of those really interesting shows where I feel like it's always fresh. It's always different. And even if there's an off episode or even an off season, just keep watching and there'll be something new and exciting. So I feel like there's really not anything else quite like it. And it was just really cool getting to be more familiar with it.
No, very cool. That is awesome. Which Doctor would you want to travel with?
It would have to be the 10th Doctor. David Tennant is my favorite
who is
Doctor.
This David Tennant person?
I know. Yes. Yeah. So yes, despite our initial skepticism about the Doctor regenerating, he became my favorite Doctor, and I loved all his story arcs and the different companions he got to travel with, and just the way his story wrapped up with bittersweetness. And I'll never forget that I don't want to go moment with him standing in the snow and saying goodbye to Rose. So I think just a really solid arc as the Doctor, and I love his passion for the character. You can tell sometimes how much a role means to an actor, and they don't take it for granted. So I think he felt very privileged to be in Doctor Who and really enjoyed it, and still loves to interact with the fans. So the 10th Doctor can swing by anytime, and I would love to take a ride in the TARDIS.
Let's look at the other side of that then. What Doctor would you not want to travel with?
This was a hard one because I think each Doctor brings such an interesting flavor to the story and a different personality. But if I had to pick one not to travel with, I would probably pick the War Doctor. That particular Doctor has seen some very heavy things, and I don't know that that's a particular experience I would wish to live through. So that would probably be the Doctor I would choose not to travel with.
She's a lover, not a fighter, folks.
Yes, yeah. I'd like some adventures, but the Doctor has seen some heavy things and witnessed there is some tragedy to this character, which I think makes it even more fascinating.
Sure. You kind of answered this next question already, but what geeks you out the most about Doctor Who?
Yeah, I just love that you never really know what to expect. Like, this show is so flat out weird sometimes, and I love it for that. Like, I never know exactly what will happen in each episode, and there are crazy things that would never work in any other TV show, but somehow it's like, of course, it's Doctor Who. So I just love all the wacky things that I have seen. Again, like I said, it may not work in any other show, but I feel like it works here.
No, totally makes sense. What turns you geek off about Doctor Who?
Well, I would say I'm a pretty loyal fan, and I'm willing to go through a franchise through ups and downs. The thing that maybe turns my geek off is sometimes I think fandom can be dealing with the people that are fans of a franchise can be difficult sometimes, and just dealing with different fan expectations. So I had stepped kind of back from Doctor Who for a little bit, but I've been really enjoying getting into it again now that it's on Disney Plus and very easily accessible and easy to watch. So yeah, I would say that's probably the main thing that would turn my geek off.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Which Doctor Who companion would you like to meet the most?
Well, I don't know if this one's slightly controversial or not, but I would pick Martha Jones, just because I feel like sometimes
that's awesome.
she is not necessarily misunderstood, but I feel like a lot of on the surface her character arc was about her character kind of being in love with the 10th Doctor and that not being reciprocated. But I mean, she's she's training to be a doctor herself, and I think she grew a lot and kind of became her own person. And I would just like to meet Martha and give her a hug and encourage her, like, you have so many adventures ahead of her, and to kind of see where she would go from there. So yeah, I think she's a character that I would like to see more from. I would not be unhappy if she ever happened to pop up on the show again.
No, totally makes sense. Agree with that one completely, actually. Martha, I think, was underused. And, even though she popped up in Torchwood and she did, she's done some, Big Finish adventures, but I would love to see Freema come back as Martha. So very much so. Agree with that one. Which Doctor Who villain would you like to meet the least?
This might be partly because it's fresh on my mind, but the entity from Midnight, and then the most recent episode, The Well, like the idea of this monster that nobody can see, but it's always like lurking behind you. I think the old saying, like, what you don't see is always scarier. And I think it's just terrifying that there's this shadowy thing that can just like end people's lives, but you can't really see it. You can't capture it. And so I think that would be the Doctor Who villain that I would like to take a pass from seeing. Like, the Daleks would be scary, the Cybermen would be scary, but it's the idea that there's this force that you can't see and you can't control that I think is the creepiest.
No, totally makes sense. Good answer, actually. What was your favorite Doctor Who geek out moment?
Well, I feel like I am still buzzing about this, but a couple months ago at my local con, Planet Comic Con in Kansas City, I got to meet David Tennant. And I won't confess how much I paid to make this happen, but let's just say
she fangirled. She totally fangirled.
It was worth every penny. I think I walked out of the photo booth and just yelled at some random people, "I just got a hug from David Tennant." So, but it was just a really fun and special moment. You don't get hardly any time with them at all, but it was a duo photo op with David Tennant and Alex Kingston, and it was just really,
that's awesome.
It was really special to share it with my dad, and it was just like, it was one of those, like, you dream about having that kind of fan moment, and it was just really special. And so that picture is something that I'll treasure for a long time, and it was really fun to be able to meet my favorite doctor in person, and also to hear his panel. He was a really great speaker and had a lot of really great anecdotes and was really warm and excited and loving to fans. So sometimes they say don't meet your heroes, but that was worth it to me. So I'm really thankful. He had been one of my longtime hopes for my local con. So I don't know how they're going to top that, but that was a fun geek out moment for me.
Okay. Other than your stint right now in the geek seat, what was your most disappointing Doctor Who moment?
Well, I would say this one started as a disappointing moment, but has a redemption story. So my dad and I had a running joke. Alex Kingston, at least I think 2 times, had made commitments to appear at Planet Comic Con, and then she had to cancel. And so we were really disappointed about that. But thankfully this year she came and we got a photo with her to prove it. So that used to be my most disappointing moment, but it ended up having a happy ending. So.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because in person she looks just like she looks on TV.
Oh, she does.
Sometimes when you see celebrities and stuff and they're like, that's what they look like in person. What you see is what you get. And that's the personality you get too. She was a hoot. Like, her panel was super entertaining. So she was great and a lot of personality. So it was a pleasure to be able to see her. Mm-hmm. I know when she was at Pensacon this year, she was throwing bananas out into the audience to people. So
I'm not surprised about that. That sounds about on brand.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. All right. Ashley, are you ready for your final question?
Let's do it.
This flew by. This was awesome. This is really good. And she's not nervous, folks. She's a pro, This is cool.
Or at least faking my way through it. So
well, this is what happens when you grow up on a podcast. Yeah. So there you go. All right, Ashley, what or who would you like to see on Doctor Who?
Ooh, let's see. I am a big fan of period dramas, so I always like when Doctor Who does a historical themed episode. I was just about over the moon when they did a Bridgerton inspired episode last season. So I would like to see, they've had a good track record of doing historical episodes, but I would like to see even more of those on the show. I think would be awesome. The Doctor can go anywhere in time and space, so I would like to see even more of that on the show. And of course, then you get to wear cool historical costumes, like especially I feel like the 15th Doctor, he's got some good fashion sense. So I think let's get some cool historical costumes out in some future episodes.
No, that is awesome.
I know, Ashley, you're not as old as the rest of us, but unfortunately now it seems like we're seeing this season in particular, their quote-unquote historical episodes are taking place in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. Like, we're like, oh, that's historical.
Tonight's historical was 2007, folks. Come on.
Yeah, that made me uncomfortable. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, hey, stop that. I'm talking about like 1800s, 1700s, like medieval knights. Like that's the kind of period drama I'm talking about. Like,
well, I was at a panel once for Doctor Who, and they said, wouldn't it be great if Doctor Who crossed over with Outlander? And it was like, and they were like, oh, that would be a great period piece. And they said, let me tell you about a story called The Highlanders. Yeah, it's with the second Doctor. So, it's happened, folks. It did.
We could only see it.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they're going to animate it someday. That would be awesome. And, it'd be great since Fraser's still with us, that they can actually get him for the commentary for it.
Yeah, let's get that done ASAP.
Yes. So, all right, Ashley, I've got some great news for you. You've made it through the Whovian Geek Seat.
Did I pass the test?
You did. Mr. Mike Gordon, tell the young lady what she won.
You have won a lifetime subscription to this podcast for whatever.
Woo! All right.
Yes, just fear Trial of a Time Lord. It might be coming sooner than you think. No.
Not if I can help it.
Yes. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. And Ashley, it's always great to see you.
Well, thank you.
Before we get out of here, before we take our break, let's get a little bit. What have your thoughts been on the season so far?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I feel like it always takes me a little bit to kind of adjust to a new doctor. Like, I feel it's natural we get attached to the person who plays the doctor, so it kind of takes a while to get used to the new vibe. But I felt like the previous season with the 15th Doctor got stronger as it went on, and there were some really solid episodes, and I've been enjoying this season so far. I really enjoyed Lux, I think it was called. Again, like, loved the costumes and the historical setting, and they managed to make a cartoon character kind of creepy, and of course, like, the well was fascinating. I stayed up a little bit past my bedtime. I was going to just start watching that episode, like, I'll watch only part of it and then I'll go to bed and get ready for work and be a responsible person. But you can't stop that episode in the middle. So yes, I watched that one with the lights on, and I watched it all the way through. So yeah, awesome. I feel like there's a lot of potential. And one of the things I've enjoyed about the 15th Doctor is kind of like the sense of childlike wonder and joy, kind of contrasted with some of the different doctors like Peter Capaldi, who had a more serious kind of world weary. And so it's kind of fun to see that, just that kind of spirit of joy and fun and wonder about the universe. Though, of course, you can always see the weight of what the Doctor has seen and experienced in his eyes. But yeah, I've enjoyed kind of seeing it, and it's great that it's on Disney Plus. So I don't know that Disney Plus really releases their streaming stats, but I hope that more people or in new audiences are discovering it through this platform that maybe wouldn't have found it otherwise.
That is awesome. That is really cool. Well, Ashley said it. Let's take a quick break, and we are going to be back because we've got a new episode to review. We are going to be talking all about Lucky Day.
It's Howdy Mike Gordon.
Howdy!
What are you doing here, Mike?
Well, Drew, I'm here to talk Batman 66, of course.
Batman 66?
That's right, folks. Join Drew Leiter and I every Wednesday for the Bat Chums podcast. We will discuss, recap, and review the Batman 60 series episode by episode.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Come on, Bat Chum. We don't have one moment to lose.
Don't worry, the worst is yet to come.
Welcome back. Now we are looking at Lucky Day, featuring Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor for 3 scenes. We got him. And
He
of
was
course, we
didn't have enough time to cry in this episode.
No, he did not. Thank God. I was thrilled about that.
Finally, an episode where he doesn't cry.
I know. We also had Belinda for 1 scene. And then we had a lot of Ruby Sunday. And also had Kate Stewart from Unit. And I was very happy to see a lot of the Unit folks back. And we'll talk all about that during this time. And there will be spoilers. So if you haven't watched it, folks, go watch it. We are going to be spoiling the crap out of this one. So, and I think a lot of folks are going to be very opinionated on this one. So I'll be very curious to hear what these fine folks think. This episode, of course, was written by Paul McTeague, and then we also, of course, directed by Peter Hoare, and then we also, of course, Russell T, Judy Gardner, blah blah blah, the rest of the crew. So it'll be very interesting to see what we think, and I'll start with Ashley. What are your initial thoughts on this one?
Oh man, it's always hard going first. I would say
You're the guest, you know.
looking put me out first. So I would say this is probably my least favorite of the 4 episodes we have seen so far this season. I don't think it's a bad episode, but it didn't stand out as much to me, especially maybe because I've been getting kind of caught up in watching them kind of right in a row. I thought were some interesting ideas presented in the episode, but some things I would have maybe liked to see them dive a little bit deeper with. But it is an interesting idea to have the Doctor used very sparingly. It's always kind of a bummer, like, oh, we don't get to see very much of the Doctor. But I think that is kind of a cool narrative idea, like kind of keeps you wondering, like, when will we see the Doctor? How will this resolve without the Doctor? So I did think that was an interesting storytelling device.
Okay.
And I apologize about the shaky cam there. My cat decided she needed some attention there for a minute. So
we are officially now a cat video, so we'll have tons
yes,
of
my
for
cats
that.
have made a cameo, so as they always like to do.
That is awesome. All right, Mary, what are your thoughts?
I like this episode. I mean, well, I'm not sure like is the right word. I think this was a good episode. I think it was well written. I think it may be one of the ickiest episodes I've ever seen of Doctor Who, just because Conrad is about the ickiest human on the planet.
Yes.
And also, it's just so relevant to what's going on in the world today. And I appreciate them doing an episode about that. This is one, I think it would have benefited from having like maybe another 15 minutes to just, so, because there was so much in it.
Yeah.
And I was really agreeing when Ashley brought that up, because it would have been nice to just have some time to breathe and get a deeper dive on certain things. I appreciate what they were trying to do, but I think it felt right, especially as we got closer to the end, it started to feel really rushed. But overall, I think it was another well done episode.
Okay. Mr. Gordon.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I've made no secret that Ruby's not my favorite companion. And I don't dislike her, but she doesn't, I don't feel like they've done really a great job with giving her a lot of agency or really even personality. And to be honest with you, I don't feel like this episode helped a lot. I felt like, she was just used as a device more than she was actually. I felt her as a character. But what saves this for me is Kate Stewart. She is just amazing. Gemma Redgrave is amazing in the role, and I just could watch, like, please give us a unit spinoff with Kate, because that's what I want. Like, that's what I come out of this going, I want more of that, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. And yeah, they've managed to, give us a lot of good people around her with a unit. So we see various people here and there, characters pop in and pop out, depending on, I guess, who they can get that week. But yeah, as far as the, Conrad is icky, for sure. But I mean, come on, we're all podcasters. We know how that can be, right? We're all just podcasters here. Actually, and some of his thing, like his story doesn't make sense to me. So I kind of feel like it's there, but without a lot of like concrete work being done to really make him be fleshed out as a character. Yeah, I liked it overall, but to me, like, yeah, since the Doctor's not there, since Belinda's not there, I really was clinging to Unit and Kate, and luckily that was enough.
Okay. Mel, what about you?
I think this is not one of my most favorite episodes because it didn't have the Doctor in it. But to echo other people, but that doesn't lessen how good a story it was. I really did like how at the beginning it was that kind of thing of you had me in the beginning in that first half, thinking that Connor was a nice, sweet, kudos to the actor. My God, I really thought he was just this nice, sweet man and blah, blah, blah. But man, did he turn into one SOB? Or then when
big
he just
time.
had that
Big time.
big time, he would just would turn it on it with the little nuances on his face. And I was just like, oh God, I hate you. So bless, dude, you had me not liking you whatsoever. So good job.
And every time he opens his mouth, it makes it worse.
I know.
He makes a situation worse every single time.
But the thing is, exactly, because literally he saw the aliens himself. He saw when he saw Ruby and the doctor, at the department store. And he saw the creatures. He got his hand in the goo and everything. And he was like, he knew it was truth, but he was still lying about it. And that's, that is so relevant in today's society. It could be thrown right in your face and you would still deny it. You would still.
And Kate going off on it a little later, talking about that type of person where you're in your own echo chamber, you're in this other thing. So you're going to be wrapped up in your own lie or what have you. So as an episode, it had no problem with me projecting all the types of people that this person was, the character, and correlating it to real life. So for me, some of the best allegories and worst allegories are the ones rooted in truth, especially when it's happening right now and is my current pain point. So as much as I want to rally about how much I don't like this episode, it's because I really do like this episode.
There was a lot in this one that hit way too close to home.
Yes.
And
I think that's why it's hard to watch in some ways.
Oh, very much so. There was parts of it that made me very uncomfortable as a podcaster, as a person, as somebody who thinks and everything. and
how propaganda can be used.
There's the tail.
Yeah, I mean, I love that line. There's a beautiful line where Kate says, you're taking people's insecurity and fear and making it currency.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what's happening in the U.S. today.
Oh, all over the world. It's just not the U.S. But it's very prevalent. Yeah.
It's a new medium, whether it was written or printed or, written, painted, and banged on somebody's wall or plastered on the town square. Now it's right here.
Exactly.
You can't escape it.
The thing is, we're told this, through their actions and everything like that. But I don't really you don't really, other than that lip service, you don't really see it. I didn't really feel like it was actually a person. It was just sort of an idea that they were attacking, manifested as a character here. We don't really get a sense of why he's doing this. We never get a sense of.
Oh, you do completely, though, dude. You
really? What's the reason? Tell me.
He was pissed because he got rejected from his interview.
Really?
With Unit.
That was it. So he got pissed. So then what he did? So you're telling me is that he said, "Well, the way I'll get back is I'll do a podcast that is seemingly for them." And interested in things and hide my true intention while having this secret organization that I'm really going to be like, it makes no sense. I mean, that takes a lot of work and effort.
I guess we saw these two different episodes because I believed it. I totally believed it. And when they pulled in the little village, in front of Unit, who looked totally badass, coming out with all the force and everything to help protect the village, and them literally, going off and, hey, you've been had, you had punked, you've had, so many people doing crap like that over the years recently. And you do get that kind of stuff, and how much on social media, and then them literally going after, posting everyone who worked for Unit's home addresses, and, having, people that Ruby had to move out of her house and take her grandmother and her mom, who was wonderful to see again,
Yes.
Yes.
They all were.
I
all
love
her
her
moms.
family.
Yeah.
She is actually collecting mothers. at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Yes, she is. But I think it goes deeper than that. I don't think it's the interview that's the turning point. I think it's when he tells his mother the truth
Yeah.
and she hauls off and punches him in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is an 8-year-old child. And so he has now learned that telling the truth means pain, means rejection.
Yep.
And I think that becomes very twisted
But
in his mind.
He even
Yeah.
lied to, Ruby about his mom, how, his mom had died, blah, blah, blah. And that she was actually living in the south of France, in one of his many properties. And it's just like, oh, what an asswipe.
But it's like they couldn't tell us, like, they're still not, they couldn't decide on, okay, is he lying to people on purpose for, to get ahead and to have power?
Yes.
Or does he actually believe a lot of these things that he's saying?
Mm.
Because even at the end, it's like he doesn't really believe that there's creatures out, like that unit is actually doing things, like, and so he pays for it with his arm, which they fix. That's our tax dollars at work.
a waste of tax dollars right there.
I know, right? Like, that's not really a good thing. And, and like I said, there's other things too. Like, when he's saying, like, he had to search, he's been searching for Ruby all this time. He even asks her, like, is that your real name? Ruby is a public figure. Like, it's not hard to figure out, like, who she is and if she's real. Like, she's been on TV several times. Like, it shouldn't be like that difficult to, like, track her down.
But I think the whole thing about how you cannot tell whether he really believes this or not
Exactly.
is actually very relevant to what we are facing today.
Mhm.
You've got people like Alex Jones, like Joe
Exactly,
Rogan, like
exactly.
But I believe
Tucker
that those people know
Carlson.
exactly what they're doing. Whereas I don't know. This doesn't make a
See, I
distinction whether or
wouldn't
not
say
they are.
that. I think it's a mixture of things. I think they're pretty twisted and not based in reality
Well,
a lot of the time. Now, that doesn't mean that they still don't. I don't think it's that black and white. That doesn't mean that they still won't turn it around
to benefit
and use
them.
it against
Yeah,
people.
exactly.
Yeah.
To benefit themselves.
I don't know. I just didn't, like I said, I don't feel like he was I don't feel like he was fleshed out as a character. I think all the things you're saying, yes, he's evil and he's right, but I felt like it was more of an idea putting it into a character rather than it was an actual character that breathed outside of this.
Yeah.
So that's my talk. So but I get it, I mean, he's not I will say, at the beginning in the first episode, when we find out that the doctor finds out about Belinda through somebody else, I don't think anybody had Conrad Clark on their bingo card.
Nope. Nope. I love that.
As far as that, who told him about his new companion.
Oh, but that scene between Conrad and the doctor
was
doctor
good.
just
very good.
materialized the TARDIS around him, so he didn't have the chance to go, oh, it's bigger on the inside or anything. The doctor just literally materialized it around him and went, you attacked my friend, you hurt my friend. And I loved it. And I loved that it was the doctor out of order, which was great.
Yes.
And everything.
I
And
just think he was too easy on him. I mean, we've seen the Doctor's dark side, and I thought that Ncuti was going to do something to this guy, but now it looks like we're going to see Conrad again.
Yeah, we're going to see him again.
I didn't want him, but yes.
Because he stood his ground, even up to the very end.
He
with
did.
The doctor, he stood his ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he just laughed at him. I can't imagine 10 like going, like,
Oh my-
just like snapping his fingers and letting him go. I've been like, no,
Oh,
10,
yeah.
I kept thinking,
You'd be
Family
good.
of
Roasted
Blood.
him.
Exactly. I was thinking
Family
Family
of
of Blood.
Blood.
You would have put him in a mirror and you could just hang out there for the rest of the end of the time.
The door's open. He's sucked into space.
Yeah.
Oops. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So I guess that is
Well,
a
I
big
mean,
difference. in
you
what
could
Ncuti
say
is.
that it's worse to die in prison.
Yeah. Well, as the
alone.
doctor said, you will die in prison alone, not even a footnote in history.
Yeah.
And that, when somebody has the ego that he had, thinking that, the world was watching him and everything, that's one of the worst feelings in the world.
But he's never going to feel that because he doesn't believe that's going to happen. So it doesn't work with him. That's why he laughs in his face.
Yeah, because he doesn't believe it's happening because it's the here and now. He doesn't care about his
But
future.
I mean, that is actually classically what narcissists do,
Yeah,
and he's a
exactly.
pretty classic narcissist.
Yeah.
I mean, they're always the hero of their own story, and they do not believe. Let me tell you, I've known a couple of narcissists. When they die, they do not ever believe they are going to die.
Nope.
It is everybody else who dies. They
Exactly.
do not.
Yeah.
Up until the end, they will deny reality.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
we have people with COVID on their deathbed saying, who refused to get vaccinated, saying they still did not believe it was COVID and they were going to die. So actually, I thought that him not changing in the end, because people like that,
Don't change.
most of the time, they do not change.
Oh, yeah.
No, they don't see the light.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
during even when at unit when he was like, "Oh, thank you," da, 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 and then he stands up, and I'm like, he's gonna not even care. And then he was like, "That was really good special effects." I'm like, I knew it.
Yeah. Especially after,
And then
Ruby then saved his ass and tased the Shriek, And so it was just like,
Well,
oh,
she did have her go to hell moment.
yeah, I loved
She
it.
did. She did.
Yeah.
But to me, the best moment of all was right before that when he points a gun at Ruby and Kate gets right in the middle of it and says,
that
"Don't
was
you
great.
dare point a gun at her!" And I was like,
That
"Oh my
was
god,
great.
that was."
Oh,
She
and
is so powerful.
she is
so powerful.
totally powerful.
Yeah,
And I love the scene where, he put down the Brigadier and the look on
He's
her
like, "That's
face.
not a good idea."
Yes, it's like, oh, you're in trouble now.
Exactly.
And how many other people of unit just kept saying, "Kate, that's enough. Kate, stop. Kate,"
Yeah.
and she's like, I own this.
Mhm.
This is
No.
mine.
That's what makes this complicated, because the things that he's accusing Unit of doing things for, like, illegal things for personal gain or personal reasons. That's exactly the hole that Kate is falling into at that point, right? She's not going to kill him because she says for national safety, but she's not concerned about national safety.
Oh,
She's concerned about how, this guy has made a fool of her, has made a fool of her friend, has insulted her father. Like, she's just gonna let him. She's gonna leave him to the wolves, literally, right?
Literally.
Like,
well, exactly. And I loved it when she said, I'm glad the doctor's not here, so he doesn't have to see me do this.
yeah. But if
Yeah.
but if it played out the different way, if Ruby hadn't done what she did, I don't like all the other people in unit weren't on her side. They were not like thinking, "Yeah, go Kate." They were like, "This
Kate,
is
you're going
far.
too far." Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was really interesting, because
Are
I
you sure you
expected
want to
them
do
be
this?
more.
Type
Yeah,
thing.
but I think that actually brings up a really good point, because again, things are not black and white.
Yeah.
And yes, it's morally gray, but you can also say you cannot appease a bully. You cannot reason with a bully.
No, you can't.
The only way to deal with a bully is to fight back. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know that's hard. I know you want to reason with them and make peace with them. You can't do it.
Nope.
Nobody's ever going to make peace with Stephen Miller or Donald Trump or, any of those
Any of
kind
those
of people,
idiots, yeah.
any of those authoritarian figures, because it's impossible. You cannot reason with them.
Yeah, I get that. I get that that's what it's saying, and I understand that. I appreciate that too. So, like I said, it's not a complete wash for me. It is. It's got some moments in it too. I mean, you guys are happy with the way Ruby's depicted in here? Because
Yes.
quite frankly, I just felt she was, I don't know, she just didn't. It didn't hit me.
I felt her heartbreak when they pulled the thing. You literally saw the look on her face. You saw the heartbreak. You saw
Millie played it well. I mean,
Yeah.
Millie is really, really good. She's
Yeah.
doing, I think, better than the material that she's working with. And I'd say that for almost everybody who's in this episode. But yeah, yeah. So, I mean, that's glad, because I know I think you guys like her more than I do anyway. So.
Yeah.
Well, I do. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as you're going, but I will say that this is one of the reasons why I was saying this episode could have used another 15 minutes. 'Cause
Yes.
some of the moments with her could have
been
had
expanded
some
out.
time to breathe,
Yes.
Mhm.
and we could have got to know her better.
Yes. I don't disagree with that. And I liked the scenes with her and her moms and her grandmother at the apartment. I thought that was awesome. I thought it was cute. I thought it was
Yeah, I like
it was
seeing
good. And that was one of the things I loved about last season was the family aspect of it. And so I thought that was pretty awesome. I liked, seeing her interaction with the folks at Unit. I loved seeing Shirley back. I loved seeing, Captain Sexy, as people are calling him. And, it's awesome. And you automatically knew who the traitor was in Unit. It's the new guy. It had to be.
That wasn't really
Yeah.
good.
That wasn't
really
rocket
that
science,
wasn't
folks.
played out very well.
No.
Yeah, that one was pretty obvious.
It's
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yes.
They're not
As soon
really.
as he
they're not
walks
really-
in, you're like, new guy.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, everybody else is someone we know and trust.
It's like, who could it be?
Yeah. I
Once
like
again, the grandmother was correct. The grandmother was correct in warning her about little English villages, even though the movie she had watched.
That's
Listen
true.
to your grandma.
I liked with the scene with Ruby and the doctor when they were in the department store. You found out where in the timeline that was, that they just had finished with the maestro.
Beatles. Yeah.
And that you were the Beatles, and John Lennon had promised me piano lessons. It was like, oh, that's awesome, So it would have been cool to, it was nice to see that. And I, like you said, Mike, you now find out how, the doctor finds out Belinda Chandra's name, and that oh, you haven't met her yet, type thing. So that was interesting. And and it's funny because I did not find the Shriek the bad guy. It was not the villain in this. It was Conrad completely.
I mean, you could argue the Shriek's not a villain at all in the sense that the Shriek's just trying to survive.
Yeah, it's
They're
doing
hunting
what comes
prey.
natural to it.
Yeah, they have to eat to survive, and that's what they do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Although, yeah, it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't gruesome. I mean, it's gruesome if a tiger's eating you too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Circle of life,
life.
folk. Come on,
Sometimes you just have to. Sometimes you just have to shock a shriek, right?
Exactly. But bump. So there you go. But yeah, it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I've watched it twice already, and this will be one I'll probably watch over again a couple more times because for a Dr. Light story, I actually enjoyed this. So, and I thought, I'm loving
No
where
Love
this-
and Monsters. Is that what you're saying, Mike?
Oh man, that one's a classic.
Oh, classical, seeing, the Absorb a lot or,
Playing
Yeah.
It's got some similar vibes.
Oh, very
especially
much so.
It does.
in the
It
beginning
absolutely does.
when we see Conrad looking at the, trying to catch up with the doctor and his
Ruby.
companion running around chasing a monster. I mean, it very similar. To
Oh, that
That's
you
Elton.
did get that feel. I was like,
Yeah.
oh God, here we go. Elton all over again.
Well, I mean, and we've been saying all season long that there are elements from other Doctor Who stories that are being placed in these seasons and these episodes, and it's kind of strange how it's not a coincidence. It's not a
no
coincidence.
way.
So
No,
what
they're totally
it
doing that on
means,
purpose.
I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out because we got Mrs. Flood again at the end.
Yep.
yeah, that to me was a weak
that
point.
was the weakest part of the story for me, truthfully,
Yeah.
was Mrs. Flood. And I'm actually starting to get really tired of seeing Mrs. Flood at the end of every story.
Yeah, the way they're using her.
Yeah. And so I'm really I'm building theories on what Mrs. Flood is or who, and I'm not liking where it's going. And I think for me, every time I'm seeing her, it's like, here she comes again, type thing. And I loved it last season. But this season is, it's the end of the episode. Oh, here comes the warden. Oh, it's Mrs. Flood. Surprise,
Yeah,
surprise.
it feels more shoehorned in this season. It's like we got to put her somewhere. We'll just slap her on at the end.
At least in the first episode, you got her at the beginning of the episode when Belinda was being kidnapped by the robots and
Yeah,
everything. But the following episodes, it's been a drag. And we said last week, we hope she's not becoming another Susan Twist. And it's feeling like she's becoming another Susan Twist.
Yeah.
I mean, she is, but I think that's a feature, not a bug. I think they're doing that on purpose because we're supposed to think that she's like that, but she's going to be not like that. I don't know what she is or what, but yeah.
You know,
I mean, look, like I said before, I love Anita Dobson, and I think she's wonderful. So when she shows up, I do kind of like perk up a bit. And I am kind of curious. I mean, when she says I am the guardian, I'm like, well, that's a loaded word in Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're saying you're the guardian, like, or are you just a guardian? Like, are you just
which guardian are we
yeah,
talking
exactly.
about?
Like
black,
this is
white, green, plaid,
because that
what-
seems like an odd thing to say, like in a jail cell, right?
Yes.
Like, oh, I'm your guardian, like, or I'm the guardian of this. I'm like, it's a weird
should
word
say
to use.
governor.
So.
Yeah,
Oh,
she doesn't
She's
say
a governor.
Yeah, she says the governor.
Oh, no, she said governor. I thought she said guardian.
No, she didn't say guardian.
No, she says the governor.
Gotcha. All right, my bad.
Which almost sounds like a Time Lord name.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking when she said governor, it was kind of like the
One of
governor's
my
telling
theories
you
right
you're
there,
on, you
Mary.
know, you've been pardoned.
Yes.
Yes,
That's kind of how I kind of
Okay.
And then
bad.
she said,
My
"It's
bad.
your lucky day," and then they went to credits. Oh, you're right. Stop it.
We got the
enthused either.
name of the episode in there twice.
Exactly.
There you go, just in case you missed it.
Subliminal plotting, not even subliminal. It's just in your face. Damn it. All right. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and rate this one?
There's a really deep dive Easter egg here when he reveals Think Tank on his shirt.
Yeah.
Think Tank was a villain in the episode Robot, which was Tom Baker's
Very first episode.
full episode.
Wow.
And they actually play a snippet of music from Robot
Mm-hmm.
when it's revealed. So, I mean, I like their little
Nods.
To go back.
Their little nods. I don't know if it means anything, but that also was the final regular appearance of Unit.
Yep.
Which makes me think, oh, okay, this is like a play on we're going to get reintroduced to Unit in the War of Land and Sea.
Exactly. Well, it's interesting also. Did you also notice that, they said, when they went, oh, where's Melanie? Because, she's part of Unit now. And they said, oh, there's something in Sydney Harbor, brewing. Is it something to now that they're going to be touching on this season in Doctor Who? Because I know Unit is going to be back, but towards the end of the season. Or is it a kind of a nod towards the war between the land and the sea? So
Yeah, I was thinking if it's a Sea Devils kind of thing.
yeah, but the step.
Well, and also Pete McTighe is one of the writers.
Yes,
for War of Land and Sea.
One of the things, I wonder if Pete they're brewing him to be the next showrunner. I've heard, possibly. So I'll be very curious to see where they go with it. And like I said, this episode felt very much like a backdoor pilot. I said that at the beginning. And if this is the direction Unit's going to go in the new series, I'm all for it. The one thing I do miss is, during the third Doctor's era, Unit was supposed to be this top secret organization out there to help save the world. And,
that ship is sailed.
Oh yeah, but now they have that huge tower in the middle of London.
Yeah.
And
Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
Avengers Tower right there.
It's
Unit
Avengers Tower.
Assemble.
And hell, they were giving tours to school students, at the beginning of the story, and it's just like, oh god. So yeah, Unit is not secret anymore, and I miss those days. I really, really do.
We didn't even touch on, because there's just so much going on in this episode, the whole anti-vax angle.
Oh,
where
very
he
much so.
refuses to take the antidote,
Yep.
which would have saved him from
that
the shriek.
That was pretty obvious,
Yeah. And also in the Easter egg, the robot is destroyed by a virus.
Of course. There you go.
The also deep cut too, because Ruby's encounter with the Shriek was first mentioned in a book, a novel. It's not a novelization. It's the one that came out last year called Caged with the 15th Doctor and Ruby. And it was written by Una McCormack. So, I guess she referenced it. And somebody, I guess, Pete decided I'll tell that story. So I thought that was kind of interesting that it was from a book that the idea, I guess, came from for the villain, the monsters anyway.
Gotcha. That's
not
awesome.
the real villain, of course.
I didn't know that. That's cool. That is really, really cool. All right, let's go ahead and rate this one. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. I'm going to let Mr. Mike go first this time.
I'm going to give this one a 3. It was good. I mean, I watched it twice, and I wasn't bored watching it. And I think it had a lot of great moments. But for me, it's all about Kate, and she shines in this, continues to shine in this. Every time they give her something to do, she knocks it out of the park. So I love seeing her, and I wish the rest of it was a bit better developed, but it's fine.
Awesome. All right, Melanie.
I'm going to give this one a solid 4. It could be higher because I think as an episode itself, it was really well written. It was really well executed. I loved the fact that they went practical and with men in suits for being the monsters at first, and then they ended up using that to their advantage, going, we were just people in suits, and I'm like, wait, what the? How dare you, Doctor Who, taking something I was admiring and then flipping it back on me? But is it something that I'm probably going to rewatch? Probably not, because to its benefit or to plus, it really got a hell of a visceral reaction for me. I was really, because it was just hitting close to home on so many things that, again, it's just so good. And when I see a character, and I'm getting to the point where I'm getting tired of Connor's face on my screen, and I'm about to turn this off because I don't want to hear him. I don't want to look at him. I don't want his stupid little smirking towards me, let alone anybody else. Oh, this is a really good episode, but I'm going with a 4.
Okay.
No
Mary.
doctor. 4.
I'm going with a 4 also, and I pretty much agree with everything Melanie said. But I mean, I find it very amusing that we're podcasters interviewing an episode about an evil podcaster.
Oh, and I know plenty of them, so it's okay.
But I mean, I think this episode represents well the theme of, basically we create our own monsters. Mm-hmm. And the monsters we're creating are worse than monsters like the Shriek, who are just trying to exist. Mm-hmm. So anything we create is always going to be the worst monster we can come up with.
Sometimes humanity is the worst monster of all.
Yeah, a lot of the time. But I also think the performances between Gemma Redgrave, Melly Gibson, Jonah Hauer-King, who plays Conrad, are fantastic. I mean, they really made this episode come alive for me. And so, yes, and I do agree it is difficult I have watched it twice, and it is not also necessarily easy to watch, but it's worthwhile to watch. So it definitely deserves at least 4.
Okay. Ashley.
Yeah, I think I will give it 3.5. I thought the story had really good bones to it. There's some really good ideas and themes and performances. Like you had said earlier, Mary, I feel like 10 or 15 minutes just to add just a little bit extra development and depth would have really helped it pop for me. I really bought Conrad and Ruby's love story in the beginning, and then that just makes it even more gut-wrenching when you realize she's been betrayed. One thread I wish they would have showed a little bit more on is showing how Conrad gets from this child who we see just a small snapshot, but what appears to be a very miserable childhood to making these choices, and just the concept that how dangerous it is to take your pain and project it outward and keep doing bad things in the world, kind of like taking the things he had experienced and then using it to make the world a worse place. So I think there's some more they could have done there to kind of tell that story and draw out the themes there. But yeah, definitely some good food for thought. And when they did bring the doctor in, great performance, great use of that. And I think it would be interesting to see the doctor and Conrad face off again. I think if Conrad doesn't mend his ways, I think the next encounter will be a lot scarier. So hopefully he learns something in the meantime, but people don't always. So
I don't think he will.
I don't think the doctor will be as merciful the second time around.
Well, it's interesting because I'm going to give this one a 4.5. I really enjoyed it. The main thing that actually pulled this one down from a 5 for me was Mrs. Flood. I'm starting to really get on my nerves with that. And I just didn't like it. The character of Conrad from the very beginning, from the very first scene, him as a little kid, he was a little brat, truthfully. He just, literally snatched the coin from the doctor. No, thank you, nothing. Thank you, sir, or whatever, and just ran. And, and then ran to his mom, mom, guess what I just saw, type thing. And it just it showed that he had a pretty crappy childhood, and he grew up into be a pretty crappy person. And, and no matter what he's faced with, even to the point when he shot the guy in the stairwell, and he was like, oh, probably wasn't real anyway, even though he knew he did it. And he was just a POS throughout the story and everything. And it made me really hate him, really, and, really despise the guy. And, both times I've watched it, I was just like, what a dick, literally. And, and I know people like that. That's the scary part about it. I've worked with people like that. I've associated with people like that. And it's everything I would not want to be in life. And that's the horrible thing about it. And, seeing pain from other people and, and thriving on it and, trying to ruin something that's good and just to better themselves. And that is, like we said, a sign of a true bully. And that's, what this was trying to show. And I really, really liked it. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Conrad. Now that is he teaming up with Mrs. Flood? Is he going to become her companion? Maybe. I'll be very curious to see where this goes. We have 4 more episodes left, folks. So it'll be fun. Definitely would love to hear from you guys. We did get a piece of mail from our friend Elizabeth Laney. So thank you, Elizabeth, for writing as always. And Elizabeth wrote, hey, ESW crew. Wow. Lucky Day pulled one over on me. Early on the episode, I was thinking, this is really nice. I'm glad Ruby found someone she can talk to about her experiences. And then the episode slapped me in the face instead. I really appreciated the way Who dives on occasion into the challenges, complications facing after traveling with the doctor. Those who survive, that is. Where was Ruby's invitation to the doctor's companion therapy group we saw a few seasons back, though? Good point. The doctor's smackdown in the second half hit way too close to home. I think for me, and perhaps many of us living in America right now, I know this was written and filmed almost a year before, but it's almost like they have a time machine or something. Really? I like the episode overall, but almost doesn't matter what I thought about the majority of the episode. This episode gets a 5 out of 5 TARDISes from me for one reason alone: Cherry Sunday. God bless that woman and her warning about the little English villages. She is a national treasure. Take care, ESW crew, and thanks for your wonderful commentary every week. Elizabeth. Thanks, Elizabeth. We do appreciate you. And folks at home, if you'd like to write also, we definitely would love to hear from you guys. Feedback at @OurStationWho is the best way to get in touch with us. All right, let's wrap this episode up. Ashley, you made it. You survived the Geek Seat. It's always wonderful to see you.
Oh, thank you. And wonderful to see all of you again as well.
And we will have you back sooner than later because we just love having you.
Well, thank you. I'm always excited to be back. So
yes, but you're so busy now being a mommy.
Yes.
Are you
hopefully raising some little Whovians?
One only hopes, or Jedi in your case.
Yes. I've got one on board. Her favorite character is Darth Vader, so I don't know whether to be concerned about that or not. So
ooh, maybe she's taking a turn to the dark side.
Yeah, so maybe we should be careful about that.
No buying her a red lightsaber. That's all.
She may already have one
Yes.
because her mom is a softie. So
I saw an interview recently with Hayden Christensen, and he's like, "It's amazing how many like kids and parents come up to me and they're like, my kids are like, they love watching Anakin. They're like, their favorite hero." And I'm like, that
like-
doesn't end well. Like that doesn't.
yeah. So I guess at least her favorite's not Kylo Ren. So I mean, his parents don't end up too well at the end of there. So
No, that's true. That's true. Are you doing any reviews or anything anymore? Or?
I have kind of I spent a lot of last year kind of taking a step back, but I'm kind of feeling that geeky creative spark again this year. So I'm hoping to get back into some things and start writing a little bit more and kind of get back into fandom some. So I'm kind of excited and looking forward to it.
I know a network that would really love to have you involved again with that kind of stuff.
Oh, so yes. Well, I had some thoughts in that department. So yeah, yes. So I'm kind of excited to kind of dive back into geek things. Planet Comic Con and just really kind of sparked that geek feeling again. So
that is awesome. And it was awesome to see you on Mike Gordon's podcast.
Yes, that was wonderful. I love talking about summer movies and probably being wrong about many of my predictions, but I did enjoy Thunderbolts. So at least one of my top most expected movies I didn't.
You mean New Avengers? What?
Yes. Was not, speaking of heavy themes, was not expecting that movie to hit me as hard emotionally as it did, but very, very powerful story.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing what you do next, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Let's also thank our regulars for being here, of course. Ms. Melanie Dean, thank you as always.
Thank you. Always love talking everything Who with all of you.
And do you have anything going on or anything you want to promote?
No. Yeah, artistically, you can follow me on Pieces of Melee, which is my Instagram handle. Work-wise, it's Diamond Tech Crafts, so you see all the nice stained glass kind of stuff I'm working on.
Which is very beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff.
But right now I'm kind of in tear of hell. So my life is customs documents, import documents, and Excel spreadsheets on pricing. So do not expect to see anything from me anytime soon. You'll just see me Yeah. Send Excedrin migraine.
Yes.
To me.
Nope, totally makes sense. And Mr. Mike, you've made it through another one, my friend.
We did, and as always, it's my pleasure.
Anything you want to promote?
Just the usual, the podcasts that we're doing. Besides this one, I'm also on Bat Chums, where we talk about the Batman 60 series, one episode at a time. Just released the latest episode of the Dragon Con Report, where we talk to the person who runs the burlesque show, which was really an interesting and fun conversation. And then New Legend Lounge, which, as you guys pointed out, Ashley, it was really fun picking movies with you again and going over the summer movies. And it's a lot of fun time. So you can find that on YouTube as well.
Awesome. And Ms. Mary Ogle, last but never least.
Always great to talk to you guys. It's been a great season. I'm really enjoying it.
Anything going on or anything you want to promote?
Well, you can find my artwork at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Excellent. That is awesome. My stuff, other than Earth Station Who, which just takes up most of my time, I'm also producing, of course, Tales from Hollywoodland, where we actually talked to Steve Stoller, who was the assistant to Groucho Marx. And wonderful interview with him. And he's also an actor and quite an impressionist, actually. And he does a great job of, imitating Groucho and a few other folks. So definitely check it out, Tales from Hollywoodland. And over on Julian Schlossberg's Movie Talk, we are talking this week to actress Paula Prentice. And it was a very interesting interview. Paula is 87 years old, bless her. And, talking about a lot of her history and, working on What's New Pussycat and, other projects she did. So it's pretty cool to see. So definitely check it out wherever fine podcasts are found, as we like to say. So we've got, tons of good stuff. And also for fans of our Patreon, we have a new episode of ESO Board Silly, which will be going live next week. So definitely check that out. And I think this is the most nonsense I think we've ever talked about.
Wow.
We didn't have any topics and we were just
We really
goofy.
did not.
We were just all over the place on that one. So definitely check it out. And if you want to, help support the ESO network, why not sign up to be one of our patrons for as little as $1 a month? We would appreciate it. Just go to patreon.com/ESO network. On behalf of myself, of course, Michael Gordon, Mary Ogle, Melanie Dean, and the wonderful Ashley Pauls, thank you for joining us. And if you've made it this far into the video, please like and subscribe right down below us. We would really appreciate it. So definitely check us out, and we will be back again next week. Next week's looks actually really cool. The Story in the Engine is and it's the return of both Belinda and the Doctor. So it'll be nice to have them back again, especially
Returns to
because
his own show.
Exactly. It's good to have him back on his own series again. So it's a good thing. Until then, we will see you soon. Peace and peace be with you. Let's end it like that. Yeah, that's what we need. So talk to y'all later. Ciao. Bye.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from throughout space and time. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individuals and are to be used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our show wherever fine podcasts are found, or check out our website, earthstationwho.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and if you enjoyed the show, please write to us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next journey of Earth Station Who.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.